Yo, what's up, family? I want to thank you for returning to listen to another review of Tyler Perry's Sistas. This is season 2, episode 5, entitled Up in Flames. I ain't even going to hold y'all. We're going to get right into it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment. I appreciate all the feedback. I appreciate the love you guys are showing me. And without further ado, let's get right into this thing. Now, we're going to start with Karen. Now, the first time we see Karen, now last night, Karen was well put together. That hair, that dress, the makeup, she was shooting all kinds of fire and giving all types of looks last night. So Ebony Obsidian, baby, you did it last night. You looked absolutely gorgeous. I mean, absolutely amazing. So Danny calls Karen. She's inquiring about Zach because Zach has not been at work. It's not like him. And Danny was on break when one of the coworkers called, like, hey, have you seen Zach? We know he lived with you. She was like, how y'all know that? He was like, everybody know that. And so she was like, look, I haven't heard from him. He don't live with me no more, whatever. So she calls Karen. Karen tells her that he's in jail. And so she was like, for what? And so Karen freely told her everything that happened at the hotel and how she wasn't bailing him out. And so Danny was like, Karen, this boy can lose his job. And so Karen was basically like, well, he should have thought about that before he did what he did. And I was like, I feel the same way. If somebody would have said that to me, I would have been like, so what does him losing his job, you know what I'm saying, have to do with me? Now, Danny tells her, well, you're going to regret that, once you calm down. And she was like, basically, no, the hell I'm not. And there were so many people who were furious that Karen did not bail Zach out of jail. And I'm sitting here really trying to understand, why are so many people upset? It's like, regardless of what Karen does, it never satisfies. Either she needs to leave him alone. She's giving both of them mixed messages. She's letting Zach believes that it's a possibility. So when she leaves him alone, it's still a problem. Why she can't bail him out? And it's a problem. I had a lot of people coming for me on social media because I'm thinking, why is it Karen's responsibility to bail Zach out of jail? And so I posed the question to this man because he was, coming at me or whatever, like, that's your opinion. And it is. It's my opinion. It doesn't make it fact. But I posed the question to him, and I said, and I'll pose it to you guys for those who feel that Karen should bail Zach out of jail. First of all, yes, there's love there. Not denying that, not discrediting that. We say that we want them to move on with their lives, but we have to be careful because when you still have feelings for someone, when you still love them, the smallest things can will you back into that toxic cycle of breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, and nothing's changed. So the question I posed was, I said, well, let's say that your ex broke into your house or broke into a hotel room while you were with someone else. When they broke in, they assaulted the person that you were with and basically disrespected you, called you all kind of him and haws. I ain't going to try not to curse. Would you bail them out? Because I think people forget that he did something against her. The crime was against her. She was that was a private and intimate moment that did not concern Zach. And we all know when we go to a hotel room, we're going to have sex. Point blank, period. When Karen went to that hotel room, she knew she was not going to go in another room. She was going there to see Aaron. She was going there to have sex. That's just what it was. That is a vulnerable position that he found them in. That was none of Zach's business. Zach did that to himself. $5,000. I don't blame Karen. I don't blame Karen at all. The next time we see Karen, Andy comes by. Andy basically comes by to tell her what happened when she went to the firm, the whole thing with Bellamy and recording him, getting him to expose what's really going on tape. So she really believes that Gary is innocent, and to show Karen the $250,000 that Gary somehow miraculously sent her from jail because he was worried about me and blah, blah, blah. So Karen was like, what? Like, you gonna try to get your place back? Like, she's asking her all of these questions. And so let me bring this up because this has been going on since season 1 about how the girls talk to Danny, how they don't act like Danny is a real friend, because they don't tell Danny anything what's going on. They keep secrets. So this is my issue. Now, we're all grown, hopefully. Now, let's just hypothetically say that you have a tribe, you know, your sisterhood, and it could be 5 of y'all. Let's say it's 5. Out of those 5, there's gonna be 2 or 3 who may be closer to each other than you are to the others. So when I see people saying certain things, I'm just like, so we get on Tyler for not presenting certain things as realistic to some of us. When you have a circle of 4 friends, someone is going to be closer to the other than the other. We see that for this group, Andy and Karen are closer. Danny and Sabrina are closer. So I still don't understand what the issue is. Now, if we go back to season 1, and Danny got so upset that Andy did not tell her did not tell them that she was messing with a married man. She was in her feelings. She was upset. She getting on Sabrina like, you know, they keep stuff from us and blah, blah, blah. Sabrina tells Danny, well, you know this is your fault because you don't know how to keep your mouth shut. I forget which friend it was, but Danny exposed their business. Danny says, well, I was young. Karen says, Danny, it was 6 months ago. Danny says, well, I was mad. Karen replies, well, what happens when you get mad again? So let's not act like we don't have that one friend or 2 friends who we have to be very cautious and intentional about what we tell them and what we don't. Because Danny obviously have diarrhea of the mouth at times, and she just blurted out. Now, the hypocrisy in that is that Danny was messing with a 65-year-old married man and told no one but Sabrina. The only reason why the other 2 knew was because Sabrina told them, not because Danny told them. So we're not going to act like they're not secrets that are held within each and every one of them that they may not have shared with the other person. So I just had to put that out there because when you go back and watch last night's episode and you compare Karen sharing the news about Zach to Danny in comparison to her sharing the news with Andy, truth be told, she wasn't even going to tell Andy what happened. Andy was out the door pretty much until Karen told her, hey, I hired a cleanup crew to clean my house so you can stay with me, you know, tonight if you want to. Andy's response was, oh, Zach didn't clean it all up. That's when she proceeded to tell Andy about what happened with Zach and Aaron at the hotel. But I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I know there are a lot of people out there who don't like the character of Karen. Okay, that's your choice. She happens to be my favorite character. So it's like everything that she does, it is magnified times 1,000. Like, no matter what she does, there is always an issue. Like, she's the most problematic character on the show, which is quite interesting. The way that people, you know, feel about that. I don't understand it, but that's just, you know, how it is, whatever the case may be. So let's get back to this $250,000. So if we go back to season 1 again, when everything was happening I think it was on the season finale, Andy told the FBI agent that she had $250,000 in her account. So I just found it very odd that the exact amount of money that was frozen with Andy is the exact amount that Gary gave her. So now I'm like, maybe Gary just gave baby girl back her own money, which would be hella funny if that's what that was. She thinking this man, oh yeah, he cares about me and he want to make sure that I'm good. No, baby, that's your money. But I don't know because I don't trust Gary like that. So if I was Andy, I wouldn't touch nothing because I just don't trust him, especially after he showed them true colors last night. But we gon', you know what I'm saying, we gonna get into that. So let's go back to let's get into Zach. So we found out while Zach is in jail, we knew last season that him and Miss Officer Lady had a history, you know, a sexual history when they were like 16 years old. So I know when she first stepped on the scene, I couldn't understand why she was still pining over Zach's penis that she had at 16 years old, because it wasn't making sense to me. Because I was like, Lord, I've had some amazing moments, okay? I have, amazing experiences sexually, but I don't want nothing that's going to keep me pining for 16 years of my life for it. That's dangerous and I don't want that. So I'm like, what is it? So we found out last night, you know, the revelation was, you know, Miss Lady Cop, I forget her name, it's like Raya or Raya or something like that. I think it's Raya. So in school, she wasn't the pretty girl. She wasn't the girl that the guys went after. She wasn't that chick. And then all of a sudden, she begins to get attention from Zachary Taylor. So the way that she said his name led me to believe that Zach was probably like a, very popular guy, maybe like captain of the football team, something like that, or basketball, like a jock or something. And, all of a sudden, he's giving her this attention that she wasn't expecting and had never gotten from anyone else. So we found out that him and his friends made a bet of who could, hit it first, who could have sex with her first. And once Zach got it, then he stopped messing with her. Basically, he dismissed her after, I'm assuming, he took her virginity. And she was, saying how she still has trust issues to this day. And I saw a lot of women, which was shocking to me. They was like, girl, that happened. You were 16. Get over it. I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, you already dealing with a woman, or a little girl, really, who has low self-esteem, who's not getting attention from guys, and you see this guy, or you begin to get attention from a guy who you never dreamt that you would get attention from. And we don't know how deep that trauma was. So it's funny, like, to tell somebody, man, just get over that and keep on moving. Like, it's interesting how, when you in these groups and you see, like, even the Twitter comments, it's like, wow, it's sad. Y'all really in some friendships, and y'all really in some relationships, and y'all really, giving this bad ass advice to your homies. And that's how I felt even in the show last night. That's how I felt about Andy. I'm thinking, Karen, baby, Andy is dealing with someone in jail. So she's the last person you need to be getting relationship advice from. When she told Karen, that's wrong to have that man sitting up in jail. Why is that wrong? And still, how and why is it Karen's responsibility? Some people have stated, well, Zach saved her life. If it wasn't for Zach, she wouldn't be alive today. She wouldn't be that. Okay, let's go with that. And that may be, 100% true. She thanked him. She appreciated him for being there. It's like, I'm wondering, like, what else do people, so I'm supposed to take $5,000 of my money that in her mind, she may never see again. And you want me to, like, no, especially when the crime was against me. It's so crazy that, a lot of people think like that, but you have the right to think how you think. It baffles me, though. So if somebody out there who you are Team Zach all the way, you don't like Karen, I would really love to talk to you and probably get you on this podcast, because I don't understand that frame of mind. I don't understand that thinking. So Fatima hosts Zach's bail. Lord have mercy. So she posts his bail, and he's thankful. He does apologize to the lady cop about what he did in the past. And so, she lets her know that he made bail. So finds out Fatima, we kind of guessed that, everybody pretty much guessed that it was going to be Fatima to bail him out, because Karen was very adamant that she was not going to do that. And so when he comes out, she was like, I'm hungry, let's go. He gave her a hug. And she was like, you can start by telling me what got you there in the first place. And that's where they're seen. That was the last time we saw them on that particular episode. So a lot of people are rooting for Fatima and Zach. Fatima gonna be the woman to mold him. Fatima gonna be the woman to get him straight. Fatima gonna be the one. And I'm like, okay, I'm just a different breed of woman. And so that's why I get so excited if I comment under your stuff on Facebook and everything, and my name is Alicia, and Alicia Hall on Facebook, Alicia N. Hall, but I go by Hustle Queen Lee, but on Facebook I go by my government. And when I comment, I be so happy to see people who are like, not Team Zach. I love to see people who ain't dogging Karen, because I'm like, almost every post, it's so crazy. I laugh at most of them, but it's just so crazy. So now Fatima, I'm not for them being in a relationship. I'm just not, because I'm like, Fatima can do a hell of a lot better. And just look at the circumstances that this man is presenting to you. You ain't know this man a whole day. You done bailed him out of jail for $5,000. You know what I'm saying? It's something about Zach that caught her attention, or, like in the preview, she said, it's something about you that I like and I want you to win. Oh, he finally got somebody in his corner. Danny is his only friend. And I'm like, why do people feel sorry for this man? I don't have any, like, ill intent when it comes to Zach, but I'm just like, still, here goes another woman who's about to take care of his grown ass, who hopefully I would like to see Zach handle the situation differently. Don't sleep with Fatima. Like, just, you are not in a great place, sir. Like, you're literally just getting out of jail for breaking and entering and assault. So I don't know if it's assault on there or not, but it's just like, this is who you want to deal with on any level. Any level. And I understand you try to get your rocks off, you want to catch your nut too, but I ain't gonna say that. But anyway, I'm just saying, all nuts ain't good ones, ain't good nuts. And you can find somebody else to provide that service for you if that's just what you trying to get from Zach. But I'm not for it. I'm not for it, especially just where he is right now. I'm not for it. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I'm just not. So let's get into Andy, who pissed me off the first 2 minutes of the show. So we see Andy. First of all, Andy, I'm gonna need you to carry that box like you got $250,000 in it. That's number one. Number two, we see Paris, and I was like, yeah, I like Paris. I like Paris right now. Since last season, he was only on one episode, but I really liked his demeanor. I liked him. I liked the essence or the aura of him, his energy. So, they stopped and spoke, and you could tell like he really likes her. She really made an impression on him, especially with the aiding of helping his grandmother. And so he was like, I know you're not married, and I just want to put my bid in. I am not for sale. I said, oh, you not, as you carry $250,000 from your man in jail in a cardboard box. I said, you know what? And Andy pissed me off. I love all of them. I love all my sisters. I love them all. But I'm like, Andy needs to be taken down a peg or two, because I don't understand where she gets this type of energy from. Like, Andy, calm it down. Calm it all the way down. You're rude. You're disrespectful. You got energy for everybody except for Gary, but she found that essence that she needed to have toward, the last scene of the episode last night. But I didn't like how she did Paris. I didn't find anything offensive. Some women did. I didn't find anything he said offensive. Like, you have a piece of a man in jail, and Gary don't even belong to you because Gary's married. He don't belong to you, sis. So I was just like, wow, Andy, you really jacked this up. And even after all of that, he went to Fatima and was like, hey, maybe you could put it in a good word for me. Fatima was like, hell nah, I ain't getting in the middle of that. She going through a lot right now. Leave it alone. And I like Fatima because Fatima just seemed like the type of woman who ain't taking no BS. She makes me feel like the type of woman who got her stuff together, head on right. I'm just like, and Zach is the person you want to get involved with, sis? I guess. But I'm not here for it. But back to Paris, I really hope they keep him around, because I would like to see Andy. She's just a hot mess. I don't know. She may do more harm to Paris than good. So I don't know how I feel about that just yet. I just know that I do like his energy, and I do look forward to seeing him on the show. Now let's get to Sabrina. Now Sabrina goes to work because I think she believes she's meeting like with corporate or the FBI, but she's actually just coming in to see her boss. And so she tried to plead her case, and her boss like, Sabrina, calm down, like just hush, girl, for a moment. So we find out that corporate wanted to suspend her for 3 weeks, but her boss got it down to 3 days. She was like, I just need you to sign this paper. So she signed it. She was like, all right, go to work. Got somebody I need you to train. So Sabrina was shocked because she didn't expect to be working, because she's supposed to be on a 3-day suspension. But the boss was like, look, I take care of corporate myself. I need you to train this new hire. So the new hire comes out. I said, pause, time out, 30-second time out on the play. Where do Tyler Perry find these men? Like, dude, I just feel like Tyler, in my imagination, I just feel like Tyler Perry has like a direct link to God or something. And he just be like, hey, yo, God, TP, Tyler Perry, I need you to send me another one. Like, these men are gorgeous. Jacoby, my God, that is a fine man. So I was like, Sabrina, it's crazy because it was like, I try to be a very, woman of value and integrity and morale. But the deep down inside, the hoe in me, okay, said, Sabrina, you better get it. You better get it. And I mean, put it all on him. I don't think you got to worry about no lace panties with Jacoby, babe. I can tell you that. Wow, that's a beautiful man. But okay, back to the story. I just had to put that out there. So she begins to train Jacoby. There is there's an instant attraction, physical attraction there. We could see it, the little sparks was flying. So she asked him for his date of birth, like to put in for his profile. And so he was like, "Is this your way of, asking me how old I am?" And she was like, "No, this is my way to get your date of birth." And so he was like, he smelled her. And so he was like, "Wow, you smell amazing. You smell good." And she was like, "Yeah, I shower sometimes." And she was like, "You want to focus on this now?" He was like, "Oh yeah, my bad." But I like, I'm not a fan. This is just me. I am not a fan of Sabrina and Calvin. I think Sabrina could do so much better. I love Sabrina's energy. Some people was like, "Why is she so awkward? Like, why is she so like nerdy?" I'm like, I like Sabrina's energy. I think that Black women, we come in all types of shapes, sizes, mindsets, um, complexions, and just our own culture as just a Black woman. It's so different. So I love the fact that all these women are different. They all get on my nerves and just crazy as hell. But I love that. I love that about them, because no one Black woman is the same as the next one. So I love to see the differences within the sister group. So before that, Sabrina goes and she calls Maurice. So she basically tell Maurice like, "Hey, they got me training somebody," and he was like, "That India, I know she's trying to replace me." And so Sabrina was like, "But he fine as hell." He was like, "I'm on my way." Y'all, when Maurice walked up in that bank with carrying that walker, I screamed. I yelled, I laughed so hard. He was walking as if he was struggling so bad. He was talking as if he was on his dying bed. "I'll be there in a minute." I was like, I laughed so hard at him. He is hilarious. Now, I didn't feel like the stuff that he was saying to Jacoby was very, out of pocket. And I felt like that dude had to like, bite his tongue on some stuff, because Maurice was being disrespectful. And I'm like, "Yeah, boo, this your job. Now, Tyler Perry, I'm gonna give you a pass, because ain't no way in hell somebody get into, they got beat like Maurice did, and they just come back to work. No doctors, no nothing. They just come back and assume their position. That don't happen." But I'm gonna let that slide. But I'm gonna let that slide. I'm not even gonna comment on that. So Sabrina is trying to tell Maurice like, "No, I'm training him." Maurice was like, "No, I'm training him." I said, "Maurice, shut up. Like, shut up." And then you got a customer in front of you, and you just a cussing up a storm. And I'm like, "Oh my God." Talking about you'll burn that MFer down with him in it. I said, Maurice, you could have been back to work. You didn't want to go back to work. You on disability and not a darn thing wrong with you. So I'm just like, dude, chill out. Just chill out. So the boss India never came back out. So Andy pops up at the bank. I said, "You know what? There are so many banks in Atlanta. If I was Sabrina, I would have been like, Andy, take your ass and your $250,000 and get out of my establishment. Now, I'm not helping you with money. The first incident was $40 million. The second incident is $250,000. I'm still trying to figure out where Gary getting all this money from, but that's another story. I need you to leave. My job has already been impacted once with you. I'm not taking the chance again. Well, I could put it in the safe deposit box. You can, but not at this bank. I'm sorry. No. No. I was just like, we really doing this right now, Sabrina? You finna let Andy halfway crooked behind come and put I just baby, take that money out of my establishment. I'm pretend like I didn't see it. You just leave. Andy, the thing that gets me about Andy, you're a lawyer, but that don't mean you have common sense. And it's clear as day that she has none. She has none. You go. And then Sabrina, I'm like, really, Sabrina? You really? I just can't. I just can't. So let's go to Aaron and Karen. So Aaron stops by the shop. Well, hold on. Let me say he texts her to make sure that it was okay, because I know some of y'all gonna be like, he just pop up all the damn time. He don't even ask her. He texts her. She knew he was coming. So Pam is still nosy as hell. I'm just like, Pam does too much. Pam does too much. Like she touches a nerve. Like Pam is funny, a little bit funny, but it's like one of them funnies. Well, yeah, all right, like shut up. Like she one of them kind of funnies. And so he was like, hi. He was like, yeah, we met. Yeah, it was your wife and Pam by. I'm like, Pam, sis, take your ass home. You already know what the energy is in here right now. Leave. Just leave. So once she leaves, Karen apologizes to Aaron. And then about, what happened the night before, Aaron apologizes to her for taking her, having her come to the hotel. And she was like, well, we didn't do nothing. And he was like, we did something. She said, well, I didn't do nothing. I'm like, no, sis, you really didn't. He did it all. He was doing it all and looked like he was doing it very well. And so I could appreciate the fact that it really wasn't that, sometimes that awkwardness you have once you have crossed the line sexually with someone and you don't know how they gonna respond, like when everything is back to normal, you don't know. But I was glad it wasn't that. So Aaron basically tells her, like he was like, I just wanted you so bad and I still do. And he said that he only dealt in extremes. He didn't have a middle. And so Karen basically asked him, like, what does that mean? And he was like, either I'm all in or I'm not. I don't have, there's no middle to me. And so a lot of people may disagree, but one thing that I've always liked about Aaron is that he's always been honest about who he is as a person. Like, hey, I'm telling you, I don't do cheating. Cheating is the one thing that I will walk away from you from, despite how many years we've been together, despite what we've built together. That's the one thing that I will leave you for. He's made that known. He's made it known that he's a commitment guy. He's not, he don't like dating. He doesn't like the dating scene. And he asked Karen out to dinner. She told him about the plans that she had to meet her friends because they are, honoring or they're celebrating another friend. And he was like, you mind if I tag along? She says, it's at a gay club. He was like, oh, okay. And she was like, you cool with that? Like going to a gay club? And he was like, yeah, why wouldn't I be? And so she was like, oh, nothing like he was like, look, I have no reason. I can't judge anybody. Look at my life. And she was like, true. And I'm like, yeah. And so I like their little scene. And I saw somebody, she was like, why don't he just go home? And I'm like, ladies, has it been that long that we've been dealing with so many Zachs? I've never dealt with the Zach, but we have dealt with so many men who don't cherish and who don't honor us and who don't reverence us, that when we do see a man, and Aaron has made it, I want to be in your presence. I want to be around you. I want to, I want to be with you. And I don't think it's anything wrong with that. I think a lot of times with women, sometimes, and not all of us, I'm just saying it as a collective, we know what it's like to be treated badly. We know what it's like to be treated as if, this person doesn't appreciate us. That sometimes when you actually do have a man to come in and shows you that he wants to be with you and shows you that he wants to spend time with you, oh, he's smothering me. He's doing this to me. He's doing team too much. I want him to go away. And it's like, but why? Why? You see a man, he's different. And don't get me wrong, I believe, excluding all the hell that has been associated with Aaron, I'm really looking forward to just getting to know him as a person. Like, who are you? We saw the preview where, he loves to have a good time. Obviously, him and Karen are dancing. He buys a round of shots for all the ladies, and I'm just like, I wasn't going to say nothing, but I saw this one comment, and she talked about how she was a 3-time abuse. So, like, she was, I guess, abused by 3 men in her life, but she survived all of them. And she was like, I know traits when I see it. And I'm just like, I find that so interesting because not everybody, so many people want Aaron to be this bad dude. So many people want Aaron to be this abusive guy. So many people want Aaron to be this negative, evil person. He's a person who has flaws. and who has shortcomings like everyone else. I just find it amazing how when you compare the two of Aaron and Zach, from what we know of Zach, and you people still have pity on him. Really, I find that very interesting that after everything that he's done, and yes, we are still gradually getting to know Aaron's character, but I'm like, after all this time, we on episode, next week will be episode 6. We have yet to see this man's colors come out and whatever else people want there to be. We have not seen that at all. And I'm not saying you have to like him, but I'm like, hell, can you get a brother a chance? If you could pity Zach after he has given someone an STD and constantly sleeps with other women without protecting himself and going back and sleeping with the woman that he claimed he loved, I'm like, well, damn it, y'all could give Aaron a little break. You get a brother a little slack. That's the part that I don't understand at all. I just don't. I don't understand. Let's get to Gary, baby. Didn't Gary show them true colors? I said, wow. Really, Gary? This what we doing, dude? Wow, Gary. Wow. So Andy comes up. She's so happy and chippery to see this darn Gary. He sits down. He's like, I just want to hug you so bad right now. He got that smile covering his whole face. Then Gary started talking about Hayden, which is the lawyer. Gary is a very jealous person. Now, I hate that. I believe we all are, in a sense, we are protective of those that we love, and we may all get jealous at times. But when you function in jealousy, I think that's a very toxic trait. Just toxic. There's no other way to say it. And Gary has shown on several occasions that his jealousy puts him like in fits of rage. You know what I'm saying? Like towards Andy. And I believe is not safe for her at all, especially with her being, someone who was physically abused in college by a boyfriend. And the conversation just went left real quick. And so she kind of took her hands away from him, and she was like, yeah, he's trying to help me get my stuff. And he was like, you said you, not us. And I'm like, but come to find out, Gary has a lawyer. So who ain't thinking nothing about Andy? It's about you. And so as the conversation, goes, she was like, I don't like this jealousy thing. He was like, I'm always going to be jealous of what's mine. And that's just how it is. I'm your man. She said, my married man. Yeah, boo. And so he was like, well, you already know the situation with that. Yeah, you married and you failed to get a divorce. I mean, there's nothing else to say about that. That just is what it is. And so he told Andy that her apartment wasn't shit, and that I'm trying to give you the world and you trying to live regular. I said, well, hold the hell up. You see where you at, Gary? How you gonna give somebody the world behind bars? I don't understand. Don't even think it's possible. How you gonna give her the world and you can't even decide when you gonna use the bathroom? But I don't get it. I don't get it. Then, she was like, before I met you, I was happy. My life was great, and you effed up my life. And so he was like, oh, really? Like, from keeping you from going to guy to guy? I said, oh, so you're calling Andy a hoe now? I'm like, Gary? He was like, I want you to give me all my, we're over, we're done. She was like, excuse me? Yeah, we're over. Don't call me anymore. She was like, I'm so sorry. He said, yeah, you are. And she said, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to myself. Now, I got to call a spade a spade. Andy, Gary didn't mess your life up. You messed your life up because you decided to trust the word of a married man who you really didn't know like that. You fell in love. I get it. And you wanted to believe him so badly that you just allowed these crazy situations to continue to happen. And I always say you can't compete with someone's wife or someone's spouse and they have kids. You will never be first in that situation because home will always be home unless he truly divorces this woman. So he basically told Andy he wants all of his money back, every dime. And she said, listen to me, I ain't giving you shit. And guard, and walked her happy behind up out of there. I said, well. It took 2 seasons, but you finally done grew enough cojones to tell Gary what needed to be told. Honestly, because I'm like, I don't even know how. Anyway, so the preview for next week, there are actually 2 previews, but I'm only going to talk about the one that came on after the show. So, Andy comes out, Karen and Aaron are in the car. You know, she kind of looks over at him. She gave him like a little, I know what that look mean, but Andy is upset. She's enraged. And I've just been trying to help him, and this is what he do. Then she calls Harris and asks him how he feel about, does he do gay clubs? So obviously yes, because we see him at the club with them. And he's at the club with them. And then we see all the girls. We see Sabrina with Calvin, Karen with Aaron, Andy with Paris. They're all dancing. And I saw Danny. She was sitting there. I don't know who Danny was dancing with, but he looked like he was a little, okay. So I don't know. But I'm like, all right, she was doing a little too much Philly for me. Calvin is driving Maurice obviously to the place. He's like, hurry up because I need to get myself done. And then we see Zach and Fatima out to eat, and she was like, you know, there's something about you that I like and I want to see you win. Then we see them back at a house continuing to drink wine, and Zach got on his wife beater. He done took his flannel shirt off. I'm like, what is going on? So y'all about to have sex? And let me make this clear. If they have sex, I don't want to hear nobody say nothing about Karen no more when it comes to Aaron, because she truly will be the only cast member who made someone wait to have sex with her or to do anything intimate with her. Think about it. She met Aaron on episode 2 of season 1. This week, episode 5 was the first time he ever saw her, you know, that he was even able to get around that region, okay? Season 2, episode 5. Now, Fatima, you don't even know Zach. You ain't knew Zach a whole 24 hours, and you about to give it up, sis? So we going to see what happened, and I want to see what kind of energy is brought if that is the case. Well, yeah, this went way over, but I want to thank y'all for listening. Thank you for, I think I got everything. If I didn't, y'all make sure to put it down in the comments. If you're listening on Spotify or any other places that podcasts are available and you want to comment and get into the engagement, make sure you come on to my YouTube channel, which is Hustle Queen Lee. The information will be down there. You'll be able to see it. So thank you guys. I will holler at y'all later. One.